I'm gonna start the recording so you guys may, I don't know if it notifies you on the webinar. So I have a new computer, so computer things are working funny for me, but I'm glad everybody has found their way here. It seems, oh, see, here we go. That is, I don't know if you guys could hear that, but I get feedback like for some reason the YouTube channel starts playing in my speakers, so I've muted that. So welcome to the last webinar for the National Diabetes Month. Kind of the recognition of that. I kept calling it a celebration. I think it's something to celebrate, to like learn about it, but people were like very bothered by the whole idea of celebrating National Diabetes Month. So I think celebrating the ability to reverse it and to learn about it and like to get it figured out, I think that's totally reasonable. But, I guess I started calling it recognition because that made people more comfortable. So, I'm glad everybody found their way here. I'm glad that my new technology is not winning and, beating me at life. As you may be aware, use the question and answer box, the Q&A box for any questions that we talk about today. We're gonna kinda talk about the DelaneMD process. We're gonna talk about a number of I'm gonna share some client stories and those sorts of things. We're gonna talk about what it looks like to work in the program, um, but just kind of the process that it takes to fix your type 2 diabetes. I am going to share my screen. There will be time for questions at the end, and if anybody needs any coaching, please raise your hand. It's one of my favorite things to do, so I'm into that. I'm gonna share my screen and my slides so that, folks, if you have any questions or that you can see some of this information. So let's see if we can advance. If you remember from previous webinars, I discussed that, that insulin resistance is really the root cause of this. That is the thing that I do with my clients that is different. When we talk about what to do, what the DelaneMD process does, what I offer to people that is different from the meds that you get from your doctor, from other things that you have done, the big difference that I do with my clients is that we are not fixing your blood sugars. We fix your insulin. We fix the insulin resistance. Your blood sugars certainly follow. Like, that's fine. Your blood sugars will be fixed. But recognize what we do is not focusing on the blood sugars. We really focus on what creates insulin elevation and release surges in your body, what makes that happen, and we fix that part. And from there, your cells start functioning normally and you become healthy. Your blood sugars normalize. So if you're interested in that previous information, please go to the DelaneMD YouTube channel. That channel has all of the webinars. I know that one of them hadn't been put up the last time that we had a webinar, but I at least made the attempt to put them up. I believe it is up. I didn't check right before I got on this call, but that should be up. So check out the DelaneMD YouTube channel because that should have that information on it. We talked about, awareness this month. We've talked about like how do we gain awareness of our disease so that we can start to make changes, right? Like how do we gain awareness? We talked about all that. We talked about the education about what creates insulin resistance. We talked about prevention of type 2 diabetes. We talked about how to fix it, including not just our food, that is important, but also how to sleep and exercise and stress management affect this. We've discussed how our brain over exaggerates the importance of that food that makes us sick, and that over exaggeration leads us to overeating it. All of that is in those previous webinars. Check them out on the YouTube channel, and they're there for you as much as you need it. So if you need to watch it once a week for the next 6 weeks, awesome, run with that. Today, we're going to talk about the strategy. We're going to talk about how my program helps women reach their health goals. We're going to talk about some success stories, and then there will be time for some questions. So the basic strategy that I help women develop and that I help women learn is that we make a plan and we follow the plan. We watch blood sugars go down and we make adjustments and then we repeat, right? The adjustments are making a new plan. That's usually what the adjustments look like. We repeat the following and then the watching of the blood sugars, watching the results that we're looking for. right? Because the blood sugars are a surrogate marker of that normalization of your insulin level. Okay. So we watch that result and then we make more adjustments if we need to. What I do with women in the coaching program is that we do what's called a commitment blueprint. The coaching helps you make this plan. I give you feedback on the biggest bang for your buck, right? So I had a client once tell me that she was going to her commitment for the week was to drink more water. That was her big commitment for the week. So here's the deal. It's not that drinking more water is not a great commitment, right? Like that's fine. And yes, you need water, but the realization that there's no amount of water that was going to, fix like how many carbs you were eating in a day. So that was the part that we kind of had to work on. So I'm trying to find the question and answer box in case anybody has any questions, and for whatever reason, it's not letting me. Um, so recognize, like, that's what I talk about when I'm talking about coaching and getting the most bang for your buck. I am going to help you, like, determine, like, if the thing that you're doing, does that make sense scientifically for you to do that thing, um, in order to see the results that you want? So that's part of what I do with my clients in the coaching. But the other part of what we do is then just trying things out. If you tell me you're going to cut your carbs to 80 grams a day and you were eating 150 a day and you were getting a fasting blood sugar of 130, like I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot more sense than I'm going to start drinking 12 ounces of water every hour for the next week, right? So that's part of the coaching. You make a commitment. I tell you the science of it. You decide whether that's a commitment you want to make, and then you make the plan, you follow the plan, you watch your sugars, and we make adjustments. That's the basic strategy. We use a number of different um, guides, a number of different tools to get you there. Okay. When women come to me wanting to work with me, they have years of making attempts at this. They have stories that they can't seem to be consistent. And they'll say things like, I can't seem to stop sabotaging myself. Or they'll say things like, I know what to do, I just can't seem to do it long term. Or they'll say things like, I've had success in the past, but I can't make it last. Those things, they can't seem to keep it consistent. They can't seem to keep it long term. They'll say things like, I'm not sure if it's possible to fix my type 2 diabetes. These are all things that I have, like, as I looked through my current clients, these are all things that they started with, stories that were in their head that they started with me, hearing in their brain. Okay. I'm not sure it's possible to even fix my type 2 diabetes. Some of my clients talk about being pissed that they have type 2 diabetes. They'll they don't believe that they eat unhealthy. They followed the guidelines. They did what they were told was healthy. And now I have type 2 diabetes and now I need to stop eating that food and do something different. And they're angry. And it makes sense. Of course you're angry. They have beliefs like, I don't understand why I have this. Like, I don't even know what I did wrong here. I thought I was doing the right thing. Or the other thing is like, I didn't think Starbucks Frappuccinos were that big of a deal, right? I don't understand why this is happening. They'll have beliefs like, "Oh, yeah, I know I've kind of been riding the borderline for a while, and I've been borderline diabetic for a while. I was hoping this whole thing would go away because I don't understand. I've been pre-diabetic for a number of years. It didn't make sense to me. I was hoping that it would just, like, not show up on my labs next year." And, of course, it still did, right? I don't know what to eat. There's so many times women come to me with this. I don't know what to eat. There's so much mixed information out there. I don't know what to believe. And it doesn't seem like anything that I eat seems to matter. No matter what I do, my blood sugars go up. These are the things that women come to me with. These are the stories. This is the confusion. This is the frustration. This is the worry. This is all of it that they come to me with. And this is what my program is meant to help women resolve. So the DelaneMD strategy, the program consists of three parts. There's coaching, there's curriculum, and then there's food log evaluation. Depending on which one of your strategy, like which one of your concerns, like what are you in the I don't know category? Are you in the I keep self-sabotaging myself category? Are you in the I'm pissed category? Depending on where you're at, in that where your personal struggle is kind of depends on which one of these parts or maybe all of them that you lean on. So everybody knows that I'm not able to see the Q&A. So I will check it whenever we're done, but I think I'm going to have to close out of my screen share to check it. Again, new technology, right? Just got a new computer. I think that I need to try to figure out how to work that, but I have not figured that out. So I will check the Q&A box. If for some reason you have to hop off this, don't hesitate to hop off of it. You can always pick back up on the YouTube channel. This is being recorded. You can pick up there. If anybody is watching on the YouTube channel, you can also post questions there. And if you're picking up later on the YouTube channel, you can post a comment there with any questions that come up when you watch this later. So, the coaching in my program, I meet with my clients privately for 30 minutes for the first 12 weeks of their program. We meet together. We get on a call during these 30-minute calls. We talk about old habits. We talk about challenges like that we're experiencing, and we challenge the reasons for these old habits. So if you're, challenge that you're experiencing or your obstacle is every afternoon at 3 o'clock, I want the chocolate. I want the thing. I feel so horrible. I felt nauseous yesterday and I wasn't even like, it wasn't on my plan to eat chocolate. It wasn't on my plan to have a little more pumpkin pie in the break room, but I ate it. We challenge the reasons that we did that. Like the reason that your brain has told you that somehow pumpkin pie treats nausea. And is that true? Does pumpkin pie treat nausea? As a physician, I'm like, no, like pumpkin pie doesn't treat nausea. Sometimes Zofran and meds treat nausea, but pumpkin pie does not treat nausea, right? Like, so we challenge it. Same thing with headaches, right? Like I got a headache in the mid-afternoon and I just needed some candy. Candy doesn't treat headaches. Tylenol treats headaches, but candy doesn't treat headaches. These are the habits. These are the reasons behind the habits that we have, and they need to be challenged. And that's what we do in coaching. So, part of those 30-minute coaching calls early on are that we're challenging some of those old habits. We're trying to reprogram some of those old habits and develop new habits. Okay. Also, we develop that blueprint, that commitment blueprint. We talk about what you're going to do for the week. Like, what is the thing that you're going to do for the week that's going to give you the big results? What little changes are we going to make this week in addition to what we did last week so that we can really get this big result of lowering our blood sugars and normalizing our A1C? We learn to do things, the things that we say we will, right? Part of that blueprint, that commitment blueprint. And the reason that it's called a commitment blueprint, partly it's a commitment and it's laid out as a blueprint would be. And we look at the obstacles that you're going to run into. That's all part of developing that commitment blueprint. But also, the more you get good at doing the things you say you're going to do for yourself, the better you improve your relationship with yourself and with food, and the more like, the better you get at not self-sabotaging, the more you break that habit. These are the things that you do in coaching. In addition to the private meetings, there's also, we have the 12 weeks. The first 12 weeks, you have 30-minute meetings. But in addition to that, there's also 60-minute group meetings every week. There's 2 of them every week. Everything can happen in these group meetings. Sometimes it's education. Like this Friday, we're going to be talking about why fasting blood sugars are always the most elevated. So we're going to talk about that, and then we'll jump into coaching that anybody needs. We coach on the heavy feelings, right? We coach on the disappointment that we may feel in ourselves and decide intentionally, like, okay, I want to feel disappointed sometimes, but I don't want to wallow in it so much that I'm debilitated by it. I'm no longer going to be the kind of person that beats myself up with this, right? So there is the coaching component, coaching through the feelings, coaching through the heaviness that comes up with this work. There's learning to work through desires and urges and cravings. This is the work that allows you to stop self-sabotaging, to stop the emotional eating, to stop those kinds of behaviors. In addition to the coaching, and if you're coming with like, I don't know how to be consistent or I've struggled with consistency, that's a coaching issue. We're going to work through that in coaching. If you're coming to this work and you're like, I don't know what to eat, this is where the online portal, which is another part of the program. So for the when you sign into the program, you get access to a online portal, and there are 12 initial modules, like foundational modules, that match those first 12 weeks of coaching. Okay. And they teach you all the science behind type 2 diabetes. They teach you all the science behind the strategies that I teach to reverse it, everything from cleaning up your diet and intermittent fasting and nutritional ketosis. They teach you the science behind why exercise works. They teach you the science behind why you got to sleep and why you got to manage your stress. All of those things are included in those first 12 modules. In addition to that, it teaches one of the initial modules is talking about the thought model and how the brain has how it works as this, prediction machine. And we see things in the world and our brain has thoughts about it. And those thoughts are predictions about what's going to happen with those things. I saw pumpkin pie in the break room. My brain is like, oh, I love pumpkin pie. I always struggle not to eat pumpkin pie. It feels so hard. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to fight that all day. Right? That's a prediction that your brain just made. And how it tells your body that it made that prediction is it makes you feel horrible. It feels like hard, it feels heavy, it feels worrisome, it feels anxious. Depending on who you are, depends on which of those feelings really resonate for you. When you're feeling worried, when you're feeling anxious, when it feels hard, you end up exhausted and you eat the pie because your brain is going to produce evidence for what it already believes, for that prediction. It likes to be right, and it's going to produce evidence for it. That is the thought model. So the thought model is one of the first things that's taught in the program because we're going to use it a lot because that's how we reprogram your brain. That's how we start to improve the relationship that you have with yourself so that you can start relying on yourself to do the things that you say. And that's how we improve and change the relationship that we have with food also. So the online portal teaches all of these things, and you always have access to that. There are 12 foundational modules, and then there are also 15 bonus modules. Okay. This frequently is teaching women the things that they've been missing about food, about themselves, like the information that hasn't been able to click together in the past when you've tried other things. This information that we get in that module and the portal is what helps put that together. So in addition to the online portal, there is a food data log. Okay. So this is the place where everything that you eat becomes very, very clear. You learn what foods keep your blood sugars in range, normal, where you want them, and you learn what foods shoot your blood sugars high. You finally learn what to eat. So if you are one of those that come to me and you're like, everything I eat makes my blood sugar go high, I don't even understand. I don't know what to do. Or if you're like, there's so much information out there. Do I do low fat? Do I do low carb? Do I do high protein? What do I do? I don't even know. This is where you're going to figure that out. And then you finally get clear on what you need to be eating. But in addition to that, this is the biggest gift of keeping a food log. I know lots of women feel like all of this is very restrictive. Like keeping a food log is so restrictive, or keeping a food plan, like, right? I restrict myself to only eating that thing on the plan. Or keeping a food log is so time intensive, it makes it so hard. What I want to offer to you is both of those two things are gifts. When you make a plan for your food, which again, like if you pre-fill out your log, you're making a plan, right? So if you make a plan for the food that you are going to eat, then you no longer have to decide thousands of times throughout the day what you're going to eat. Oh, I want to have that pizza that's in the break room, but I know that's going to make my blood sugar go high. Oh, maybe a burger. Maybe if I had a burger without a bun, maybe if I had this constant back and forth of making decisions about what you're going to eat is what leads to decision fatigue. Okay. Your brain's like, oh, I want to be free to decide what I want. Brains like ours, brains that have eaten these foods so much that it makes us sick, cannot be free to decide these things because they decide bad things, things that make us sick with type 2 diabetes. Okay. So having a plan is a gift. It's a gift so you don't have to go back and forth on these decisions and feel exhausted and make bad decisions at the end of that. It's a gift because you already know what you're going to eat. You don't have to spend any more energy thinking about that. Okay. Also, keeping this log is a manual of what works for your body. So say this happens all the time for my clients. They get 4 or 5 months in, and then the cruise that they had planned is, scheduled. They get 4 or 5 months in and they're like, "Oh my gosh, my numbers are great. My fasting is 87 every morning. My after meals are like never higher than 120. I know exactly what to do. This is zeroed in." They're like, "I've got it laser focused. I've got it done." And then they go on the cruise. And they have all the things, cruises are just like feeding troughs on a boat for anybody to eat whatever they want, right? And they go on the cruise and I want them. I'm always like, go and enjoy it. Like, enjoy it. Figure out what really is joy because I think everybody probably experiences or recognizes that eating unlimitedly until you feel ill is not necessarily joy or enjoyment food, but figuring out how do I really want to intentionally enjoy food, not mindlessly eat until I feel sick. So that is something, but of course, part of that means that, like, oh, my blood sugars go high. Like, Thanksgiving just passed, right? My blood sugars definitely went high on Thanksgiving. They haven't gone high in the mornings, like, the mornings have still been pretty normal for me, but it was one single day. If you have 5 days of a cruise where you're having these excursion eats, you may see your blood sugars go high. And so a lot of times we wanna freak out, right? What this sounds like, so if you're like, "I don't know that I freak out about that." So if you ever have a story in your brain like, "Oh my god, here we go again. I did so well, and now I can't stay on plan. Now I can't seem to be consistent. I know what to do, but I never can seem to make it last." If that story is ever rattled around in your brain, this is what this I'm talking to you. My clients will come back from their cruise, their 5-day cruise, and they're suddenly like, "Oh my gosh, I'm falling off the wagon." They feel so unsure, so unsteady. There's confusion, there's worry, there's anxiety, there's all this unpleasantry. If you've kept 4 months of a food log, you literally have 4 months of what you need to eat to fix what happened in those 5 days. This is the gift of the food log and the data log and why it is such a powerful thing to use. So, there's so much information. There's so much that comes from your food data logs. These are things that women send me every day. They send any questions that they have, and I send responses. I email them back responses to those questions. Sometimes I'll email them as they send a log and they don't have questions. And I'll be like, "Oh, I want to make sure you understand the science behind this food that you ate." So you get to make a really informed decision about what you're eating and do you want to eat that or not. So before we dive in, I am going to stop my share because I want to make sure I think I'm gonna stop my share, maybe I'm not. I wanna make sure that nobody has any questions. This is hilarious, guys. It literally will not let me, um, get to the share. How funny is that? I don't know that I'm gonna be able to stop the share. It won't let me go to the, we're gonna try this. No. Oh, I found the share bar, guys. Woo! But it won't let me get to it now. Hmm. So it's over. Let me see if I hit escape. How funny is this? Oh my gosh, when the computers win. Yeah, it's totally not. I am so sorry, guys. I'm going to try at the end again to get to the question and answer. I can see it over there, but I can't get my mouse over there on the other screen. So fingers crossed. We're gonna see how this goes, guys. I am so sorry. All right, so we're gonna talk about some of my clients and their success stories. Okay, these are um comments. Some of them I have the labs and the data for, and some of them I just have their stories. So bear with me on that. But there's a number of different clients. My clients always get the results that they are wanting, right? Meaning I don't set their results. I don't say you need to come and work with me and we're going to lower your A1C to 5. I don't say that. Some women come and work with me and they just want to avoid being on insulin. They don't care if they're on all the metformin and Jardiance or Jardiance. They don't care if they're on all the oral meds under the sun. They don't want to be on shots. And they come work with me to avoid that. So you get to always make your goals, but these are some of the results that my clients have typically got. So Carol worked with me. What she said was, I can't believe after 20 years of doctors offering me nothing but medications, that with your coaching, I've been able to achieve almost a full recovery in 5 months. Keep in mind that during that time, I was cycling when she was in the 20 years. I was cycling 3 to 4 times a week, swimming, walking, and other activities, and still could not lose weight. Thank you. So her A1C went from 6 to 5, and her fasting blood sugars, then, of course, to match that, they went from 114 in the mornings to 94 consistently. And she's maintained that for quite some time. So, again, you get to make your own goals about what you want to create. I don't have pictures with all of these. I have pictures with one at the end, and it's very, very stark. So stay tuned for that. So another client of mine, Charlotte, and her and I have worked together for over 2 years now. But in the first year, these are the results that she got. And then her comments to me, I'm very happy with both my weight loss and the normalizing of my blood sugar. What has brought me the greatest happiness, though, has been the insights gained concerning choices that I make. I know that I now have the knowledge, the skills, and the understanding necessary for healthy present and future. I'm still learning thanks to the DelaneMD program. And her fastings went from being like, her A1C was in the diabetic range of like 6.5 to 6.9 consistently. And she's maintained fasting blood sugars in the 85 to 105 range for the last 2 years. Recognize some of these women I have worked with long term. When you come into the program, you have the first 12 weeks of private meetings, but then you have access to the group program as long as you need it, to the group meetings as long as you need it. And lots of women will come in and out. And so some of them I have worked with for years because they float in and out of those group meetings. So Sylvie is a recently retired university professor. She has 3 grandchildren who live with her, and she's struggled with the type 2 diabetes for years. And she's struggled with her weight for decades. She actually would talk to you. I mean, she would tell you about being on Weight Watchers and having multiple cycles of weight loss with these various commercial programs, but she just could not seem to make them stick. And so she would see these improvements and then quickly resort back to old behaviors. And of course, this eroded her relationship with herself, her trust, her ability to achieve and maintain these results. It just really broke that down. So in her first 4 months in my program, her A1C went from a 5.9 to a 5.4, and she lost 42 pounds of weight loss. Now, hold the phone. Losing 42 pounds in like 3 or 4 months is not necessarily fabulous. She didn't have cancer. It wasn't great. What happened is she had lost 20 pounds, but she lost an additional 22 pounds in her first 4 months working in the program. So these are the results that the clients that I work with consistently get. Faith was a 22-year-old when she started working with me. I love this particular client. She had been diagnosed when she was very, very young. She'd been diagnosed at 15 years old with type 2 diabetes. And of course, she was told the typical story. It's genetic, it runs in your family, it's progressive disorder. They had prescribed her multiple medications over the years that she didn't like the way it made her feel. She was young, she had a hard time remembering to take them, all of these things. So she would try to navigate her social life and this diagnosis and really, really struggled with that. She was getting up in the middle of the night. She was having these snacks when she suspected this. And even though she knew that this eating in the middle of the night was likely creating her disease. So her A1C in the first 4 months dropped to 5.4, and her weight, she didn't have a lot of weight to lose. So recognize, like, lots of women start with me and they're like, oh, I don't have weight to lose. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. You don't have to lose weight to do this work. You can normalize your diabetes without losing weight. Remember, the biggest growing population of people, of humans, of Americans with type 2 diabetes that we are seeing are actually what they call TOFI. And I don't love this term, but it is what's in the literature. Thin on the outside, TO, thin on the outside, fat on the inside, FI. And what that really means is despite your weight, you have metabolic disease. That is what that comes down to. You don't have to be overweight to have metabolic disease. Linda's story, I love, and this is the one that I have pictures with. I love Linda. I've enjoyed working with her. And she has told me on multiple occasions, this is the best thing that I have ever done for myself. And to be a part of that, to be privilege to be in that journey with anybody is just a gift for me. I've really truly enjoyed working with her. Her fasting blood sugars have dropped from the 115 to the 95, 100 area. She still wants to drop her fasting blood sugars lower. Her A1C, though, has dropped to 5.4, and she's dropped over 40 pounds. And the pictures are, I don't know, I think the pictures that she has are striking. These are the pictures right before, that was the picture on the left was right before she started working with me, and the picture on the right she sent to me about 6 weeks ago. So, she's very thrilled and happy with her results, but clearly, this work can be very, very impactful, right? And these are just a handful of women that I've worked with over the years who've had some wonderful results. I will offer, um, whenever you sign with me, I guarantee your investment. I will refund your money. If you work with me for 6 months, you send me food logs, and you show up for coaching once a week and you don't get the results that you're looking for or start on that path, you're not seeing improvement. If you're not getting better and know kind of a clear plan for how to go forward, I will refund your money. And I've never had to do that, because if you show up for yourself, even if you don't have the answers, even if you feel defeated, even if you feel like it's not working, even if you feel like you're failing, and you show up for coaching, we will work through that and keep you moving forward. And I think that that is really the power of what I offer when I help women through this process. These stories can definitely be yours too. If you have the story I've tried so many times, and if this is something you really truly want, I want to offer you. Like, if your brain's like, I've tried this so many times and I just can't make it work, I want you to realize you will continue to try it until you figure it out. There is something within inside of you that, like, is driving you to that, and you're gonna have to acknowledge that, and I think sometimes just giving yourself the help that you need to get there is a gift, okay? Women will come to me, they will tell me that their life is too busy to get this, and I understand that. Life can be busy. So one of 2 things are going on. It may be that just fixing your type 2 diabetes is not a priority right now, and that's totally fine. We are graced and lucky enough to live in a world of science to where you can depend on meds if you can't invest this effort, if you can't invest the energy, if you can't invest the time, if that is not your priority right now, great. We have meds. Call your doctor. Get the best meds out there for you. We have that opportunity. But if you're not okay with that, or if you are okay with that, definitely stop making yourself feel shitty about that. Stop talking meanly to yourself if that's what you're doing, okay? Stop doing that. If you're not interested or you don't have the energy right now to pour yourself into fixing this. But if it is what you want to do, if, like, when I offer you that as an option, if your brain is like, whoa, pump the brakes, hot shot, we are not just giving up. If your brain is telling you you're too busy and your brain's telling you, hell no, we're not giving up, you need a coach. That is what coaching is for. There is no food plan that's going to fix that. That is what coaching is important for. If your brain tells you it's too complicated, I've repeatedly heard this from my clients when they fix it. My clients on the other side who have fixed it repeatedly tell me it was so much easier than I thought it was going to be. It went so much faster and it was so much easier than I thought it was going to be. That is something I consistently hear from the women I work with. If your brain offers you, like, oh, my kids, my spouse, my mom, my sister, my friend, my neighbor, my neighbor's dog, whoever it is, like, won't eat this way, I just don't think I can do it. A lot of times this is a spouse and kids, like, those won't do this. They won't eat this way, so I can't change because they won't eat this way. I wanna offer to you a couple of things. No one else in your life needs to change a thing in order for you to change this part of you. You probably have a story that sounds like, but it would be easier if they would do it. If you wait for them to do it, if you wait for it to be easier, you will never do this work. And if it's important to you to fix this part of your life, you're going to have to not wait for those things, or you're never going to get there. Right? I always remind people, the people in your life don't need to change in order for you to fix this. Another very related obstacle that I hear from women is, I don't know that my husband's going to let me do this. And what I want to offer to you is, yeah, if you expect your husband to make these same food changes that you're going to make in order for you to do this, he's going to be like, hell no, you're not doing that. I don't want to let go of that food, right? Your husband may be resistant to you starting this work because he's not ready to do that. And that's why you cannot wait on others in your life to start changing in order for you to make those changes. You need to do this for you. You need to do this because of you, and you need to do it on your own. You cannot lean on them because then your success is always tied to somebody else's success. And that is a powerless position to be in because we can't control others. Okay. We believe that it's helpful. We believe that it's like offering us an edge. It is not. It offers us a crutch. And when the crutch breaks, then we can't do the work that we want to do. Okay, we can't do the thing that's important to us. We cannot become the version of ourselves that we want to become. And then lastly, a lot of women will tell me that they can't afford this work. That is one thing that I hear a lot. And what I have realized, I get it, that there are sometimes that the money is not available, and that's totally fine, which is why I do a million free opportunities for people out there so that they can learn how to do this and they can have all the resources that they need. Okay. You just need to stop putting food that makes you sick in your mouth. And that is something that you can learn to do. Can my program help you do it faster? Can my program make it more clear and straightforward? Yes, my program will help you with all of those things, but it is entirely possible for you to stop putting Twinkies in your mouth with or without me. Okay. But when women say to me that they can't afford this work, it's almost always because they do not believe in their ability to do it. And it's easier to say, I don't want to trade this money for something I don't think I can do than it is to say, I don't think I can do that. Okay. So if that is something that comes up, I would definitely encourage you to question it. Like, can I not afford it? Or am I not willing to make the trade because I don't believe in myself? Okay. I can teach you how to be in control of your health for a lifetime. I can teach you how to have a relationship with food that's based on trust and empowerment and surety. I can teach you how to be free from foods. Like you can learn how to be free from foods that make you sick, that create disease in your body. That's priceless. That buys you years of your life, that exchange of money. And you know that you're going to spend this money some way, one way or another. And I don't mean like you're going to spend it on shoes. I mean, if you're sick with type 2 diabetes, you're going to spend it in doctor's appointments. You're going to spend it in medications. You're going to spend it in lab draws. You're going to spend it in procedures. You're going to spend it in lost hour or years of work. You're going to spend this money anyway. You get to decide if you want to spend this money on strategies that keep you in the healthcare system or the disease care system that keep you sick. If you want to spend your money on the meds, on the doctor's appointments, on the labs, on the procedures, do you want to spend your money there? Or do you want to spend your money on things that actually create health and give you control of your health, give you empowerment over the food that you eat, create trust in you, and buy you years of your life? When women tell me that they can't afford it, 9 times out of 10 it is because they have eroded their relationship with food so much that they don't believe in themselves. They don't believe that they can do it. And for these women, they are the ones that benefit the most from having a coach. Okay. So give yourself that gift. Give yourself um that help that you need. Again, can you do it on your own? Absolutely. You don't need me to stop eating Twinkies. Like, I'm not going to stop eating Twinkies for you. You're going to have to stop doing that. I will help you do it quicker. I will help you reformulate habits and patterns in your brain. And maybe it will help happen quicker and maybe it will be more clear, but I'm not going to stop eating the Twinkies for you. You're going to have to do that. I could just help you. Okay. If you want that help, if you want that clarity, if you want it to happen fast, I'm the girl for you. Okay. So now we've got to do the hard thing of figuring out how to get the I'm afraid that I'm gonna have to sign in with my old computer to get the question and answers up. Let me see if I can get onto the internet and make sure that there's not any questions in the okay. I don't see any questions in the chat on the I think this is crazy. It will not let me go over to that other screen. So I can't stop sharing because the stop sharing is over on that other screen. That's so interesting. I am sorry, guys. I was all excited because I was going to have more processing power in the new computer. Doing the old one, I was like, oh yeah, this is the way to go. I'm going to try to sign into the old computer and see if it will let me.
Recording in progress.
Oh, that's well, this is interesting. Okay, so I've muted myself. Maybe I'm muted everywhere now. This is hilarious, you guys. I'm so sorry. Okay, let me see if I can get into the Q&A here. Ha! All right. Okay. If you have questions, put them in the question and answer. I can see questions now. I don't want to sign out entirely. Do you know what happened? It stopped sharing now on the other computer. You know, sometimes, guys, computers just win. I'm going to stop my video here, and then I'm going to go back to this one. I'm not sure which one you guys are seeing. I apologize. There are two of me right now. That's so overwhelming. All right. If anybody has any questions that you want to ask me, and maybe you don't want to answer it here on the webinar, do not hesitate to send me an email. Y'all know this. You can send me an email, Delane@DelaneMD.com. Many of you have sent me emails, and you know I respond to them. So please send me an email, Delane@DelaneMD.com. I'm happy to answer any questions. If you are interested in working in the group, the first step is to set up a reverse your diabetes assessment call. I make sure that you're appropriate for the group, right? If you're on, although even women who have been on 100 units of insulin, I definitely can help them. But sometimes people call me, and certainly sometimes gentlemen call me, and they want to work together, and there's a different way for me to work with some people that's probably more appropriate for some people. So if that's something you're interested in, if you're wanting to work together, hit me up for a reverse your diabetes assessment call. You can get those scheduled at www.calendly, that's CALENDLY.com/DelaneMD. You can find my scheduling link there. You get access to my schedule. Sometimes you have to schedule out pretty far in advance, and that's not real. That's just what's available on the Calendly link. Send me an email if you don't want to wait that long, and lots of you have done that. So, all right, we're 45 minutes in. If anybody has any questions, you're, again, more than welcome to put them in the Q&A. And if not, I hope everyone has a wonderful holiday season. I hope this month has been helpful and you've gotten lots of information. And we will, work through the rest of the year. Like, there will be things in December. There will be webinars in December, so stay tuned for those. But set up your reverse your diabetes assessment call so you can get some clarity about where you need to make changes. And then again, if you're ready to work in the group, that is something that's available. Okay. All right, guys, have a great day. I will talk with y'all later. Bye-bye.